Hello everyone, welcome back to another video from Artificially Important. Today I've got some very exciting news. Let's talk about Bloom. So, you may be asking, what is Bloom? Well, Bloom is now the world's largest open multilingual language model. So Bloom is known as a large language model, much like GPT-3 is, but this was actually created with actually help from France and some of their government research agencies. This was put together by a large group of people and is kind of meant to be the open source version of GPT-3. So, Bloom is able to generate text in 46 languages, 13 programming languages. Some of them include Spanish, French, Arabic. A lot of them are... Bloom is the first language model to be able to support those type of languages and have so many parameters that have been put into the training model for this. Initial runtime for the training was 117 days between March 11th and July 6th. And this was just released to the public on July 12th. And the great thing is you could use it at home right now if you would like to, and I will show you in a little bit later on in this video. So they've actually made their own AI license to use it, which kind of gives you some idea of what they like to see the program used for. Of course, don't use it for hate speech, political stuff, you know everything. And you guys can read that. I'll have the links down in the comments. But this is something we definitely have to keep our eye on. And like I said, it just released yesterday, so I have not had too big of a chance to really play around with it yet, but I wanted to let you guys know so you guys can get your hands on it as well. So this is their official blog post. Like I said, I'll put it down in the comments, but let's actually run over here to MIT. They have a pretty extensive article written up about it. So, like I said, Bloom was created with over 1,000 volunteer researchers on a project called BigScience, which was correlated by AI startup HuggingFace, and I'll show you what that is here in a second. But yeah, it really just kind of goes in and talks about GPT-3 and Lambda. If you watched my other video about Lambda, go ahead and if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. But if you have, you kind of understand that Google had an engineer that came out and said that Lambda was sentient, and I kind of go over my reasoning on why I don't think so in that video. So it's a good video to watch. Like I said, this article just kind of goes on, talks a little bit more about it, talks about the new licensing. Just over 30% of the training data was in English. But let's move on to HuggingFace. And this is where you can actually kind of test it out. You can test it out through the API, and this is where you can actually download it. So HuggingFace is an AI startup. It's kind of like GitHub, I would say, in a way. I haven't had the privilege to use it too terribly much yet, but I'm looking forward to be able to using it more in the days to come. But so you can see everything here. It kind of tells you about the basics. Model type, we're on version 1.0, created by BigScience. Talks about the training, 46 natural languages, 13 programming language, 1.6 terabyte in preprocessed text, converting into 350 billion unique tokens. And this kind of gives you an idea of how it was trained. So as we see, you got the biggest of English, and then Chinese would be roughly the second biggest, along with French at the time of making this. And of course, it goes much more into that. Talks about the programming languages that it was taught on, and all that goodness. So how does it compare to GPT-3? We don't quite know yet, but it has been trained on a larger set of of information. Okay, technical specs. So this kind of goes through what it took to make it, in a way, what it was trained on, all that goodness. So it was trained on 176 billion parameters. Now GPT-3 is trained on 175 billion parameters. These parameters include 70 layers, 112 attention heads. Hidden layers are 14336 dimensional, and so on and so forth. Hardware kind of went through what it was trained on, and then software that was used. So, if we go into risks and limitations, so this kind of talks about what you shouldn't be doing with it. Of course, hateful stuff, anything including sexual content. The list goes on and on. But I would strongly suggest you guys make it over to HuggingFace, sign up for an account. An account is free, and then at least you can use the API here that is hosted. Now, of course, it doesn't have the full power of what it would have if you went and downloaded it on your machine and ran it on there, or even imported it into a script you're already using. But it's just cool. It's very cool. It's a lot like when you would use, or when you've seen GPT-3 being used, or if you've had the pleasure of using GPT-3. It gives you that this is cool. And not a lot of people quite understand how much work goes into making something like this yet. But this is what will lead us to, hopefully, a general artificial intelligence. But that should be all for today. If you guys have any comments, please put them down in the comments section, of course. And once you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see y'all in the next one.